Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, good morning. We're going to be talking about it's a good morning. How y'all feeling? Turn it down a little bit. Hey, Deshauna. Karina, now you changed your name, huh? Good morning, good morning. Nah, we not cooking no bacon and the eggs today. No bacon, we not cooking today. We're actually talking about erasing the black folks and the vote. This shit is crazy. Um, yeah. Well, how you been, girl? I hope everything is well. I hope your family is well. I hope your boys are doing well. I hope everybody is doing well. Your girls. Uh, I'm up early to bring this information. Up early to bring this information. Absolutely. So, B1, 88 OS, black folks, listen, we got to be on code. We got to wake up and we got to wake up and smell the loud because, they trying to erase black people, black men especially, but black people. So we got to start educating ourselves about who the real enemy is and stop bickering and fighting with one another, and trying to plot against one another. We got to stop doing that, So meanwhile, on the policy level, we're being written out of resources, privileges, history, etc. Right? So we're the only people with an unjustifiable grievance, right? With this country. And so you look at the Democratic debates or whatever. Before we get into that, we're going, go real deep in that. But it's time to cut that check. So that's what we're talking about today. And so while we're focused on understanding what's going on here, we also focused on entrepreneurship. We also focused on getting that bag ourselves too. So meanwhile, while we're educating our brothers and sisters, help everybody getting on code, we're also out there getting our checks too. Actually making sure we're doing what we gotta do. Right? So, but before we get into, just like the video, subscribe. I got the YouTube going. I got the Facebook going. Yeah, but get my subscribers up there still on. I got about 20 now. Got about 20 now. So, but I hope everything is cool with you though. Seriously, I hope everything is all good. And this message really is going to touch somebody today. Somebody who's like maybe in politics or whatever. This message is going to touch somebody today. Because we as black folks got to get on code with one another. We got to become more cohesive with one another and start working together. Right. So I'm just bringing forth the messages from my elders, Tariq Nasheed, Professor Black Truth, Jason Black, the Black Authority, just bringing this truth to you guys as a humble servant and bringing this information to my young brothers. Especially, I'm really trying to reach the younger brothers. So, last week we talked about food, actually. We actually talked about food on this channel. We rarely talk about food. And if you want to check out the last week episode, I didn't post it up on Facebook, but you can go ahead and check it out. It's on the link will be in the description after the video. But so what we're talking about today in terms of erasing black, in terms of erasing black folks, like Professor Black Truth said, actions speak louder than words. But damn sure if their words don't match their actions, I'll tell you what, like what action Like, what action have these politicians taken to help black people? Like, like what actions have they taken? None. And so this Democratic national debate is funny because they have the Democratic national debate, right? But then they have a few days before that, about 10 days ago or so, about June 10th or so, they had the reparations hearing, right? So they had the reparations hearing before they had the Democratic National Convention. And then at the Democratic National Convention, nobody mentioned anything about reparations or anything. Like, nothing, right? So that was just a setup. That was like, all right, let's get that out the way. They was talking about reparations. Let's let them get what they got to get off their chest, and let them get what they got to get off their chest and be done with it. And so you notice on the Democratic National Convention, they don't say anything about reparations. Nothing. Like, nobody mentioned nothing. Nobody even say the word black. Like, it's crazy. So, right, the candidates you got up there. So we're going to just give a little rundown of the candidates that we're working with and how they are doing nothing for black folks. No candidate ever does anything for black folks or even says anything about doing anything for black folks, right? So just a little bit of history about who's running in office. So you got Kamala Harris, right? They be talking real good. She's like Obama. She's like Obama 2.0, right? 3.0 and shit. But, so she's a prosecutor, right? So she talks all this junk, about crime this and crime that. But if you look at her record, right? If you look at her record, she has put so many people in jail. She has put so many policies in place or signed off on so many policies that really go against black folks, black men in general, put them in jail and things like that. So it's crazy how when you look at her track record and then you see how she's trying to run for president. If you look at her interviews 10 plus years ago, she was hard set on everything in terms of getting these policies set where you get truancy, you get people's these kids' parents in trouble for for their kids not coming to school. Like, Kamala Harris is the devil, yo. Like, she's the devil. Like, the devil that can talk real nice and turn on that good language when she start talking in front of black folks, right? She get in front of like black folks like the NAACP who ain't doing shit for black folks anyway. She get in front of them and start talking about y'all and and my mama, and she start drawing. She start talking all crazy when she's not even black. She'll claim she has black ancestries because she's getting called out, but she's not black. But yeah, so then you got Corny Booker, right? You got Corny Booker. This corny dude. This is like you got to be wary of these type of dudes because he start using all these we's and us and we about to get into that. But this guy is doing nothing for black folks. You ask him about black, he says African American. Well, what you gonna do for black? Well, for African Americans. Oh man, we native black folks to this land, man. Like, we are native black folks to this land, right? With an undeniable, unjustifiable grievance with this country, right? And so, what is his form of reparations? Which is not reparations at all, but he calls it fucking baby bonds, which he didn't mention. Or he glazed over. I'm sorry, he glazed over baby bonds. But ain't nobody talking about black folks to the extent that's what that campaign relies on. Nobody's talking about black folks. You got all these immigrant people running. You got all these bigots running, and so what's happening is black folks is not benefiting from no policy. Right? They're not saying black and no policy. And so because they're not saying, they're not even recognizing our existence. they're not even recognizing our existence. You see what I'm saying? And so then you got Joe Biden, and this dude, he was the ringleader, right? The '94 crime bill is actually called Biden's law. He put this shit together. This dude really put this shit together. And on this in this crime bill, it in order for states to get more money, right? Check this out. So in order for states to get more money, this racist ass, the discriminatory ass dude, he came up with all these policies that made states that they didn't have laws strict enough on the enforcement of, say crack cocaine and things like that. He made these laws, or he put this bill into existence, into working, because these people, these states wanted more money, so he put all this money in front of these states, and next thing you know, all these states are like enacting all these strict laws, and then now all these black folks are getting locked up, and in turn, these states were awarded billions and billions of dollars because they toughened up on their laws, and as a result of that, they got money for it. And so because they got money for it, black folks suffered, and we're still suffering. A majority of our men are in prison. And so then, the list goes on and on. You got Bill de Blasio, you got Tim Ryan, Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard's talking about prospering off the backs of black folks. She just grazed off that. She didn't unpack none of that shit. And, her she's funny. All of these people are funny. And, Tim Ryan talks about, he says, this do nothing, says it actually does matter. Or I'm talking about, he says it doesn't matter who's black or white, or it doesn't matter what's black and white. Tim, it does matter. Like, why are so many black people indirectly affected by what happens in policy, right? But we have nothing to do with policies, right? Come on. So then you got all these immigrant guys, Julian Castro and Beto O'Rourke, and you got all these dudes. And then another thing, right? They're talking all cryptic, right? So if you notice, a lot of these candidates say, I'm going to fight hard for you as hard as I would fight for my family. Right? I'm going to fight hard for you like I fight as hard as I do for my family. Right? And this is a white candidate saying that. So if that's cryptic, that's cryptic language, right? And so that's not saying anything, right? That's not saying who that's going to affect. It's just on code with white society that means like, okay, this is what's going to happen. She's going to fight for white people. She's not fighting for no. That's who she's fighting for. That's what her campaign runs on. So she's not fighting for black folks. None of these candidates are doing anything, right? So none of these candidates deserve your vote, right? None of them. None of them. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. These candidates are crazy. But so slavery, man. Slavery was an undeniable grievance with this country, right? So with this country, everybody benefits from the policy. Every group of people benefits from policies except black people. Every group, right? But yet black folks, we have an undeniable, unjustifiable grievance with this country. Like our generation, our ancestors built this country, were treated all types of ways, raped all types of ways, treated all types of ways, socially, economically, however you want to spin it, right? And so for that not to be the focus, right? For that not to be the focus of policies, correcting that wrong, correcting those L's, like that just lets you know, like, oh, okay, so they trying to erase black people out of history. Okay, so they just gonna do black folks like that. They just going to, treat black folks like that and not give reparations to black folks in turn in every which way. Social reparations, educational reparations, financial reparations, etc. Right? And so you see it on a policy level. Is and we are not able to buy politicians because these politicians are multicolored, right? They're politicians and it's just business. So black or white is just business, right? All politicians are bought. Every politician is bought, right? So we can, if we had enough business owners who are all on code with one another, and we got together and we was like, you know what? We need to get some change here on a policy level. And we all came together and we bought politicians, no matter if they were black or white, and they served our interests and they got the job done, no matter if they're black or white. If they were black and they got the job done, cool. If they were white and they were for black folks, got reparations, tangibles, and reparations in forms of every which way, cool. We working with you because you serving our interests. And it's a mutually beneficial relationship for everybody involved, right? So black or white, politicians are politicians. It just so happens that the dominant society has all the wealth, so therefore they can buy all the politicians, right? It's crazy. Oh man, that's crazy. So like Jason Black say, in the new black media, and I'm gonna put his link in the description. This man is, these elders we got like Jason Black and Tariq Nasheed, Professor Black Truth. He gave a great example, right? He talked about Floyd. Like Floyd worked with this guy, Bob something. It was like his agent, right? When he first got started. And he used that agent, the white guy, he used that agent until he was able to get enough money to start his own promotion company. And then ever since he was able to start his own promotion company, he started doing, he got away from the contract that he had with that agent at the time, with that promoter at the time. And then he turned that, that money that he got, he took that money and invested it into his own promotion company. And then he stopped working with the agent, like I said. And then he started working with the agent again, but this time in a position of power now. So he's working with his agent, but he's in a position of power. So it's a difference. He's not being controlled under contract with unfavorable terms, with favorable terms to the signer of the contract. You see? It's just crazy, man. It's so crazy. But that's just a lesson. So it's just business. It's just business. Whether it's business, politics, relationships, whatever, it's okay to do business with the races. If the terms, if the terms are beneficial to you and you're in a position of power and those terms put you in a position of power, hey, it's okay. So I had a revelation. I'm still growing and learning and changing and developing. And I'm considering working with some white folks, because it's just business at the end of the day. I'm going to still have my same message. I'm going to feel how I feel. and I'm going to put forth our message. I'm going to talk to us Black folks. But I learned something, and I'm always learning something, and that's the best thing. You know, you always want to be learning something. Always want to be learning something. So how does this happen though? Like, how the fuck we get written out of policies and shit? Like, how does that happen? How is it so that we never benefit from anything that happens on a political level ever as a group? As a group, how is it that we never get any resources or allocated any resources? Like, how is that? You know, it's funny because I was, you know, I ride my bike at least 26 miles a day, and that's one thing I love is my time, right? So my time is the most valuable thing in the world to me. That's what everybody is using all their money for, is to get their time back. They're not just chasing the bag to chase the bag, but I say that to say. So I ride my bike, and I'm noticing that all these groups, all these immigrant groups, have specific resources and privileges and allocations and set asides just for them. When the foundational Black Americans that are native to this land don't have no resources, don't have no neighborhoods, nothing. Everything is immigrated into with everybody else. We have nothing for ourselves. So I'm talking about specifically, you know, I'm noticing all of these Latin American community centers. I'm noticing like Puerto Rican centers and Jewish community centers and uh, Russian community center. But like, where's our Black community center? The Black American community center. You know, where is our shit? You know, but it's something that my brother brought to my attention too, is that, you know, it's because we don't have culture. We've been stripped of our culture, and because we've been stripped of our culture, you know, the United States has created a culture for us, right? And unfortunately, this culture that you know that this society has created for us is not one that uplifts us. It's one that kills us. And so I say all of that to say that you see the resources that are given, you know, to immigrant groups and, you know, all these other groups, when we've been here the whole time. Like, we've been here the whole time. Our families have been here from generation for generation. You ask your grandma and your great grandma, where I'm from, grandma, where I'm from, great grandma. They're gonna tell you, I don't know. And when they tell you, I don't know, that means you've been here for generation after generation after generation. When you ask your parents, where are we from? Mom, dad, where are we from? Where are we from? And they say, I don't know. You've been here generation after generation after generation. But why is it that we don't have a community center, a rec center, the Black American Community Center? But immigrants that just got here, they get the Latin American Community Center. Like, why? You see? And it's because of benign neglect. But benign neglect is when you say you're going to allocate resources to people of color. You say you're going to allocate resources to minorities. You're going to say allocate resources to Black and brown. And damn it, I don't think you'll ever see one that says we're going to allocate something specifically to African Americans. Damn it, you have a hard time trying to find a black grant. I dare you. I double, triple, quadruple, super duper duper dare you to go look on Google, type in black business grants for black men, business grants for black men. Type I triple dare you. Let me know what you find. And I'm talking about keep going on the different pages. You know how Google got the GO, just hit every single one you can. And you're gonna see there's nothing allocated specifically for black folks. There's nothing specifically allocated for black men, right? And so if you notice, all of the candidates were focused on some marginal issue. All of the candidates were focused on something dumb as shit or something that's already been solved, right? Like it's funny as shit when you really get into it and you really understand that you got these candidates. They're really benign neglect is in full effect because all that their campaign stems on have nothing to do with foundational black Americans. Nothing to do with the black Americans that don't know where they come from, that have been in America year after year, building this country, making this country run. Right? So they focus on all these different type of issues, but none of them focus on specific benefits, privileges, policies that will benefit black folks, black men, black women. Well, they're doing that little game. They're doing that little game now where they're creating a little bit more opportunity for black women, right? So what they're doing is they're trying to divide the black men and women even more, right? So they're trying not to provide any opportunities or any help or assistance to entrepreneurs or business owners, aspiring business owners, but yet in turn they'll fund everything for a woman if she's fucked up or if she's ambitious. If she's fucked up and she's having all these babies and she's doing all this and that, they'll take care of her for life. Give her a house, give her a whip, food stamps. The government will make sure she is fine, right? But what happens to that black man now? Because once she starts getting all that assistance, Zaddy become Zaddy. Now, white man is Zaddy now. The government is Zaddy, paying your bills, giving you crib. Now you're in a whole life of Zaddy. You got somebody taking care of you. You don't need a black man now, right? And so that stems into a whole nother set of issues that are not for this topic. But there's so many inner workings. But benign neglect is so vicious, right? It's so vicious. It's so vicious. Like none of these politicians are worth doing business with. At this point, remember how we were just talking about, politicians, decide to serve our interests, and at some point, whatever, they are so far away from serving our interests. So far away from serving our interests. So we can either create our own independent party and use the new voices of black media, the B1 family, or we can either get our entrepreneurship and get on our business ownership and start buying some of these politicians and see if they produce results. And if they produce results, we continue to utilize them because they're fulfilling our interests. I mean, it's simple, right? But so, how is it, that gays and immigrants get the special provisions and they get all the damn goodies? How is it? How is that? Like they get all the goodies, set asides, And this all happens under policy. And they get all this over black folks. Black folks don't get anything. We don't get nothing. Nothing. We're people with an undeniable grievance. We're the only people that have not been reparated for any type of damage done to them as a group. Every other group of people, every other immigrant to this nation that has had something happen to them on account of the federal government have been reparated. The Indians, white people, the Jews, the Japanese. When are black folks going to be reparated? They're not. They're not even talking about it. You see what I'm saying? So we got to keep talking about it. We got to create our own movement. We got to create that energy for ourselves. And we got to keep talking about it because they're not going to do it. None of these politicians talk about anything concerning black folks. Nothing. Nothing. The one guy said climate change. What's his name? What's his name? What's that dude's name? What is his fucking name? Hold on. Governor Jay Inslee. This fucking guy said climate change is the top priority. Really? Cutting that check. That's the top priority, man. That is the top priority. And until they start talking about cutting that check, until they start talking about that, until that becomes the main focus of their issue, we need to be on our entrepreneurship and our business ownership, and at the same time fighting for reparations. Putting that message out so our other brothers and sisters can hear it. Now, I'm not talking about all of our brothers and sisters, because we know that 2/3 of our brothers and sisters ain't gonna make it. We already know that 2/3. Let me say this again. We already know that 2/3 of our people are just not gonna make it. And the 2/3 are the ones that's killing each other. They're doing harm to each other, and these people are not gonna survive. My brother was breaking this down to me today. The Bible says that, the 2/3 will perish. They will perish, right? So, but that 1/3 is going to be able to shine. We are that 1/3 that's going to bring major change to this country, to this atmosphere, to the direction of politics. We're going to bring change to that, and it's going to be us, young brothers. It's going to be us black men that lead the charge and recognize like what is exactly happening here. Like, we gotta stop fucking being so distracted and partying so much and drinking so much and smoking so much. All that stuff, I'm not saying don't do it. It's cool. Do what you do. It's stressful out here. I get it. So you need some relief. I understand. But try to cut back. Try to cut back, brothers. So, like I said, though, we got to focus so we can understand that these politicians are just leaving us on a horizontal playing field. What I'm talking about is they just talking about horizontal issues that don't matter, and replacing issues that do matter, like reparations, like tangibles, like social reparations, like land reparations, educational reparations. but yet they're focusing on all this dumb shit. And I'm not saying that health and education and climate change, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. But it's not, I mean, it's not as important as the people who have been so damaged to the point where they just being killed off and being written out of history. It's just not as important as that. And as a country that prides itself on morality and ethical, and to have all these ethical rules and business and all this just ethical this and ethical that, it is unethical to treat a group of people that way and then not compensate them for what's happened to them. Right? So don't talk to me about nothing ethical this, ethical that. Fuck that. Fuck that. Ain't nothing ethical about America, bro. I love it here. This is my home. This is a place I love. I don't know anything else. But this place is the least bit from ethical. I walk down the street and just feel unethical vibes. For real. How are immigrants getting all the benefits? Like, how are gay people getting all the benefits? Like, gay people, that's something new that, you know, that was created to change this, to change the social discourse, to prevent genetic annihilation. But immigration, you know, these people don't have no rights. These immigrants, they don't have no rights. They coming across the border. And another thing, these immigrants, the white skinned immigrants are coming across the border. They locking up these black immigrants that's trying to come across the border. Look at Professor or Jason Black. Look at Jason Black's videos on 6/30 2019, which was yesterday. I'm gonna see if I can put that link in the description. But he said it. You know, he said it. He said exactly that. He said, you know, they're letting all these white immigrants come over, but they're sending the black ones right back. Oh, man. So America is the least, the least, the least from ethical. Like, fuck out of here. Gets all the ways fucks out. That's some bullshit. America is just unethical like a motherfucker. Oh, man. So, I've been up all night. But I love what I do. I just keep going, living full-time and working part-time. That's the best life to have. And there's a price to pay for everything. You know, you just always keep that in mind and work with your end goal in mind. And there's nothing that you can't do. There's no task that you can't accomplish. So earlier we mentioned doing business like Floyd, right? Floyd, what he did was he soaked up all that game while working with the with that agent and promoter. And I bet you Floyd was asking question after question. Yo, how you do this? How you do that? Like, oh shit, like how you do that and how you do this, right? And so as soon as he understood the game, as soon as he soaked up all that knowledge, he was like, oh, all right, I got this. cancel, ended that contract with that agent and promoter, opened up his own promotion company, and then started doing business with the guy again because he was in a position of power and the terms of the contract were in his favor, more in his favor. So he held a position of power. We got to do business like Floyd. We got to do business like Floyd, brothers. We got to come together, build a team, and do business like Floyd. We got to soak up all that game from these companies, these MLM companies. And just as an aside, as while we're talking about MLM companies, and we're going to get back to soaking up all that gain from these companies, but just as an aside, right? And in terms of entrepreneurship, so we can't bank on reparations, right? We gotta fight for that shit. We gotta fight for that shit, but we can't bank on it. So what do we gotta do instead? We gotta get our entrepreneur game on. And we got to create a pyramid. We got to create a multi-level marketing system for ourselves. Now, the preconceptions on multi-level marketing have been disastrous, right? There's been so many preconceptions, but it's such a great business for people who are looking to get out of that system. Right? And so traditionally, you go to your job, whether you work at a bank, whether you work at a school, whether you work at a supermarket, no matter where you work, I'm sorry to tell you, but you work in a pyramid scheme. But like, let me tell you the shittiest part about your pyramid scheme versus my pyramid scheme, right? So the worst part about your pyramid scheme is that you don't have any clue when you are going to advance, if you can advance at all. Because see, what happens is the positions up at the top of the pyramid are for those who know each other and connected to one another, right? And so it's hard for you to move up that pyramid unless you know somebody. And so this keeps you at a steady income rate, or at an income that you can clock. You can be like, oh man, if I work here for such and such time, I'm only going to make this amount. You don't want to feel like that. You don't want to have a cap on your income. You don't want nobody to have the power to control your life. For real, you want somebody to control your life. You want somebody to have the power and ability to say, no, I don't want you to work here anymore. Go find another job. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What are you gonna do if your boss in your pyramid tells you that, oh, you know what? We gotta cut costs and expenses. Therefore, we just can't keep you around because, it's getting expensive to run a company, and you know how that goes. No, I don't know how that goes. I don't. So now my pyramid scheme. How is that different and better than your pyramid scheme? Well, with my pyramid scheme, we just so happen to be involved with a product that is on a wealth trend right now. Rarely do you ever come across products that you have a wealth trend, that you're on a wealth trend with. And that's CBD. We're at the foundation stage of this industry. And so with this pyramid, you have the ability to go as high as you want to go, to earn as much income as you want to earn. But you know the worst part about this industry? You know the worst part about this pyramid scheme is that it's not made for everybody. It's not made for people who are not going to be consistent. It's not made for people who give up easily, because nothing in life is easy. So you got to just keep going and going till it works. And those are the people that are successful. And so the drawback with my pyramid is that it won't work for you if you are not a hard worker. So if you are not working the business at least a few days a week, it's not going to work you. It's not going to work for you. See the issue? So because we got all these policies against us, we want to place ourselves in the best position. And we have to work a job at some point so we have earned income. But after we have earned income, we take that money and then start our own pyramid. Create an asset for ourselves that we can pass down to our children, and then our children can pass that asset down to their children. And then we could just keep that in the family. Because as of right now, the only thing that we're passing down is fucking DVDs. We're passing down debt. We're passing down a foreclosure and shit. It's hard out here, man. So we just gotta do our thing. We gotta stop. Stop. Oh my God. But so you want to take that pyramid, create an asset for yourself. Create an asset for yourself, right? So let's get back into that, right? So the MLM, right? It's just doing business, and so you want to do business with everybody, and we want to build a team of black folks and brothers that go out into the larger society, sell these products, get business partners. Understand that it's just business. We start with a team of brothers, get that camaraderie going. Go out there, get business customers, get partners. That's all we do. And so we building a value system. And it's just business. It's just business. So we hire us and we sell to everybody. But the one thing that would really propel our reparations agenda is if we had an economic base. So we need more black business owners like myself, like Tariq, Jason, and Professor Black, and Dr. Boyce, and Jay Morrison, and all these guys. We need people like that come together, build an economic base, so then we can go into the dominant society, buy politicians, and get policies set in our favor, correct these wrongs. We gotta make sure they uphold our interests. And as they keep upholding our interests, we keep paying for them. We'll keep buying these politicians. If they keep serving our interests, we'll keep buying them. If they can't do the job, black or white, somebody else got to do the job. It's just business. It's just business. So become one of those business owners. Join me and my team. Really dedicated to this. Let's go and work. Let's build a team of brothers and go out there into the dominant society and sell to everybody. Build a group of us. Go out there and sell to everybody. It's just business. Work with a racist if the contract and terms are in your favor. But at the end of the day, these benign neglect policies and all of these marginal issues that are the focus of these candidates and in terms of business, if we just get our business shit right, all of the horizontal issues will straighten themselves out because our economic base will allow us to have a political base, which will allow us to have a social, actual culture and to compete. So join me, man. Join my team. Join us. Brother, join us. We need you. We need as many minds as possible working on one goal. We need as many black minds. We need as much melanin as possible working on one goal. Remember I told y'all that story about the young black kids who jumped me or tried to jump me? I'm not mad at those kids. I actually admire those kids for trying to plan to the best of their abilities, right? But they just planned in the wrong way. So let's be like those young boys, but let's in turn plan for the right way. Let's get together and become one. Let's become one mind. Let's bring all of our energy together and become one mind, focused on one goal, and see what we can accomplish. Just see what we can accomplish. I'm telling you, be some amazing shit. Yeah. All right, let me get out of here, man. At the end of the day, listen, black folks, we got to stay on code. We got to stay on game. We can't let these politicians try to trick us with this trick bag language they be trying to use, and be on the lookout for these corny ass Negroes selling us out behind our backs like Corny Booker and John Conyers and I came all the way there from South. All these coon ass niggas. All right, y'all. Food and Finance 24. Bang.